Today's podcast is brought to you by a long lifetime of not receiving enough attention. Is it ever enough?
Now with Joe DeRosa.
Hi, I'm Joe DeRosa, and here we go with the podcast where I talk to one guest for one thing for 1 hour, and today we're talking about anger management. It's something I've certainly struggled with and failed at achieving for a good chunk of my life, but it's made me a living. Anger, annoyance, outbursts, and tirades have played no small part in my approach to comedy, and people usually think it's funny until it gets real. Here's what I mean. An audience loves anger as a show. We center movies around it. Anger management, that's a movie. We make TV shows about it. Anger management, that's a TV show. And angry comics are consistently a hit. Just see Louis Black, Sam Kinison, or one of the other countless ranting funny men that have graced the craft. But once anger is off the screen or the stage, people usually don't want it near them. The average calm person shuns, judges, and pokes a stick at someone else's anger like it's some kind of mutant circus freak that entertains and disgusts them all at the same time. So it can suck to be an angry guy until you become an angry performer, which leads to one question I'd like to analyze today. If a guy stops being angry, will he also stop being funny? I don't know. Maybe my guest does. With me today is one of my best pals and a guy who I used to get paid to bicker with on the Uninformed Radio show. He's one of the biggest comedians working today, packing theaters around the world and cranking out hour-long specials, the latest of which is called You People Are All the Same. His Monday morning podcast is one of the best out there, and he's recently stepped into a larger podcast arena as one of the founders of the All Things Comedy Network. He's recently been seen in what I'd call a shit ton of movies. Look for him in Walk of Shame later this year, and he's appeared with regularity on a variety of fantastic TV programs, including the renowned Breaking Bad. But he's here now, and I'm excited. Bill Burr, everybody.
Ah, Jesus there, Joe. I wanted to sound like I was coming into the room. Jeez, Joe, I wish that intro. I wish my career was half as good as that intro. That was phenomenal.
Thank you.
A shit ton of movies.
You're in so many movies, man.
Yeah, I know, with like 5 lines. It's great. I'm there for like 6 days. It's perfect, Joe. I'm getting away with murder.
You're the parts are big enough that
scroll down on the IMDb page.
You scroll down to see
keep
it.
Scrolling.
But you make the trailer. Every time you appear in the trailer. You were in the trailer for Stand Up Guys. You're in the trailer for Walk of Shame.
That's because I'm part of an unrecognized minority. So the same way they got to get the Asian and the African American in there, occasionally throwing a ginger.
Yeah. You're the new Ken Jeong. Here's what I want to start with. Bill, we've had our share of arguments over the years.
Joe, we've had disagreements. Some public.
Some
even more public.
Some public. Well, people tell me, for the people that don't know, Bill and I used to do a radio show together called Uninformed, which became a podcast. And
we never stopped doing it. We were on a hiatus.
Yeah.
And it's starting again. What happened was I moved out to L.A.
Yeah.
And you just could not get your shit together.
I couldn't get it together.
You couldn't get it together to just get one of the zillion writing jobs out here. And finally, you put together a packet. As the window was beginning to close, you finally decided to get off your ass and do a little bit of work.
I snuck in.
Joe, you're one of the hardest working guys I know.
Hey, thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Always working on. I'm working on this idea. The fucking cocksuckers aren't letting me do it. They said. Look, I pitched it, they liked it, and now they're just they're such cunts. They're all cunts. That's what it's like to sit next to Joe. That's like, you're just beginning to order round 2.
Here's the funny thing is I apparently say the word cunt so much that I was telling a joke last night at dinner with Pete Holmes, and the punchline of the joke has cunt in it, and he goes, I knew what the punchline was going to be when you got to the part in the joke where you were allowed to riff and call the girl a cunt, and you called her only a bitch. He's like, I knew cunt was coming, man. You exposed yourself. So I say that word too much because I'm an angry guy. That's the point. And here's what why I brought up Uninformed was people tell me that we're fans of the show. They always said that their favorite episode was the episode where we actually brought on. We had fought so much on the air that we actually brought on a marriage counselor.
Did we do that?
Yeah. To talk about. You don't remember this?
No. I remember the
big
Satanist.
shot over here.
I remember the Satanist.
Right.
I remember we brought on the cop.
The cop.
Blue Lou Boyle we brought on.
I don't think we're supposed to bleep that name because I think he was supposed to be anonymous on the show.
He didn't say anything. It's all right. Who was the other one?
We brought in
Blue Boyle is not his name. That's out of a Tarantino movie. I remember the nutritionist lady who wouldn't relax because she heard us screaming at each other, so she thought that we were going to attack her. We could not get her to relax and be like, no, the joke's on us. We're the idiots. Just make us look like idiots. She was just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Bananas have potassium.
Yeah.
F both you guys. Like,
and
that
then
survive.
That one was funny, too, because you were on the side of nutrition. You were on the side of organic fruits, and I was the one that was like, I don't give a shit. I'll eat anything. And then you ate her organic apples, and you were like, I don't like it. It tastes funny.
Oh, did I say that?
Yeah, so the guy that was supposed to be her support team.
Well, what's funny is like the size that apples are supposed to really be, Joe. These are all roided up apples, these giant fucking things you got here. Well, they aren't even that big.
I actually have to go in the supermarket and try to find apples that small because the other ones are so
you
big.
get like, that's what we talked about on the show, how you get full eating an apple now.
Yeah.
Like, God, you want to split half this apple?
It
used to be like that. Yeah, it went from a baseball to like a softball.
Well, we did the episode.
What's the deal?
Have you seen these apples, people? We did that episode, an episode where we brought a marriage counselor in to talk to us about our. I mean, we used to argue so much.
Yeah, but we're not the same. I'm not like that anymore.
Me neither.
Although yesterday, I'd done some acting work, and I was behind on my SAG dues, which is the horrific union that you call and you can't even get them on the phone. So for some reason,
incredible?
Well, they don't even send you a bill, and then all of a sudden you do 2 lines in a show, which I am the king of, and then they're like, yeah, the show's going to get fined if you don't pay your dues. So I called them up, trying to give them money. It was a couple $100. I'm just trying to pay them. I can't get through to anybody, dude. It's the most hostile. Passive aggressive phone system you go into, which is like, hey, if you want this, press 1. If you want this, press 2. And then you get into it, and they just go, if you know the name of the person you want to talk to, type in you don't have any name.
Yep.
Or type in the extension.
Right.
And then you're like, well, I don't know either one of those, but
right.
None of the choices you gave me work. So then you press 0, and it just goes back to the beginning again. So I tried to pay online, and I asked my wife, I said, come in and let's just help me out. I go, I swear to God, I'm not going to lose my temper, dude. And within like 2 minutes of trying to do it, like I bought a file cabinet, and I just wanted to start throwing liver shots into the side of the thing. It just never works for me.
Dude, yeah, it's that classic thing we always talked about with like we always laugh about that Honeymooners episode, pins and needles, needles and pins.
Yeah.
A happy man always grins. You know, like that episode is it's the perfect setup to a joke because you know this character flies off the handle, and then the setup is I'm not going to freak out anymore. I'm just going to say this thing and it's going to calm me down. And then the whole episode, you're just watching him say it through clenched teeth. I'm that same guy, dude. It's like I can't, and I'm going through that right now with the SAG thing. I owe them, I don't know, they have $400 or something on dues. I've called them.
Why don't they send you a bill? They want you to pay online.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And I keep calling them and saying, guys, I can't find my login info. I'm trying to give you money.
That's what I went through.
Me. Yeah.
No, you have to go on and you have to Skype with somebody on, like they'll text you back and forth. They're actually pretty good. And I was just like, yeah, I have my membership number and I know the last 4 of my social, and it still won't let me in. And as they're trying to help me out, I looked down at the card and I realized for some reason I was carrying around my wife's card. And so then I had to type, I just realized. I'm like, I'm an idiot. But fortunately, I wasn't being hostile with her. So then she gave me my membership number.
Right.
And so and a link. So rather than writing down the membership number, I always zig when I should zag on computers. I clicked the link, and then it went directly to the link. And then I went, oh, wait, I need the membership number. And I went back, and that was like that window no longer exists. And that's when I just lost my shit. Because it's like I don't like paying shit online. I don't I like when my bank account information is not online. I don't do anything online. That's like the second you start doing financial deals online, you're out of your mind. That's basically like just cut up your body a little bit, bleed a little bit, and then jump in shark-infested waters. It's inevitable that, I don't know. I can't say it's inevitable, but something bad can only come from that.
Well, here's the funny thing. Like, we're similar in the temperament department, and I have such issues with dealing with customer service, and because I freak out. You had the bit about in your act about like the whole time you're on the line with customer service, you're going, don't curse, don't curse, don't curse. And then you get worked up. You go, well, you motherfucker. And then they hang up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm terminating the call. Fuck.
Yeah, and then you have to go back.
Yeah. I'm totally that guy, like 100%. And I hate dealing with customer service so much. I put everything online. I'm just like, I don't give a shit. I steal my identity. I don't give a shit. I don't want to deal with the people.
Don't ever anywhere use your debit card because that's your money.
Right.
Because then they hack into your account. Always use like a credit card is not as big a deal, but but as far as like them getting that and then pretending to be you, I've been double swiped a zillion times, and then that's easy.
Swipe.
But that's easy. They just
Right.
go, did you buy a Lincoln Continental in Toronto? You're like, no, I've been to Los Angeles. They go, okay, and then they go and figure it out. But if it's your money, if somebody does that with your debit card, you know how banks work. Oh,
Yeah, I got you.
well, listen, before you get any further, I never considered Sam Kinison an angry comic.
Who
else did you list? Kinison?
I said Lewis Black, Sam Kinison, because I felt like they were the two best examples of guys that seemed frustrated. I mean,
I would say Lewis. I consider frustrated. Like people's definition of yelling and anger, like normal people to me. Like I don't look at Kinison like I don't think just because you're yelling that means you're angry. Because whenever I used to watch him in interviews, he seemed like it's the performance. You're ramping it up. Like I don't think he was walking around like I need a drink. Oh, screaming in people's faces. I mean, I don't know.
I agree that here's what made me think that he's angry is I read his biography recently, which is an amazing book, and it's like he's like a guy from another fucking planet. You're like, it couldn't have went on any longer than it did. They're talking in the book about like 48-hour coke and drinking binges, and then he'd sleep for 40 minutes, and they'd wake him up, and he'd go right on stage. And they go, he'd meander for 10 minutes, and then he'd figure it out and get his shit together and just start killing. And I'm like, he's just not human. He was a spirit sent here for a little period of time, and then they brought him back to wherever he came from.
He's unbelievably underrated.
I absolutely agree. But there's one bit in the
somehow got lumped into the shock comics, and like it's like there's another comic. I'm not going to name his name because I don't want because I think he's gotten past it. There was a comic for a while, and people, he's blue, he's dirty, all he talks about is sex. And then I watched his act, and I was like, no, this guy is brilliant,
right?
And you're just getting, because people, it's just like, oh, you use this word, therefore, you're sexist or you're a racist. Right. Like they don't take context or any of that type of stuff. It's just more subject matter, and then they just throw you into that thing. I thought that happened to Kinison.
Well, I totally agree with that, and I think that's what's so interesting about anger performers. Like, okay, so real quick though, the thing that made me go, there's so much pain in the book. I'm like, there's like a sort of exorcism happening on stage where he's getting these demons out, and there's a lot of anger behind it. The one thing about his parents, where he talks about calling his parents to borrow money because he's struggling, and they're like, Sam, it's just time you get off on your own, and we can't really support you anymore, and we got to cut you off and everything. And he does this whole like soliloquy of like, before you guys came along, I was just this spirit. I had no body. I was just.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And it's this really poetic
thing. And
then
you two decided to fuck.
Yeah. And now you're gonna tell me I'm on my own. Fuck you. The punchline is the harshest fuck you I've ever heard somebody scream. So, and then all the stuff about the women and the divorce and, Sam, why don't you go up there and talk about men? I'll tell you why. Because a man never broke my fucking heart.
Yeah. No, he was, sorry, I'm leaning back in the chair now.
But that's what made me, that's what I find so interesting about the, quote, angry performer, unquote, is they do get compartmentalized. And the people do say, well, that guy's just about that. I've heard people say about Kinison, like, oh, well, he's just the guy that that just trashed women, and it was just, and it's like, you're missing it, man. Like, you're totally missing where this guy was coming from. 100%.
That's the usual, though. I mean, it's always, I don't know.
Have you had that problem?
With what?
With your comedy? Because I'd say you're an aggressive guy on stage. You're very opinionated, and there's definitely a level of
you.
There's a level of annoyance and whatever. Have you been compartmentalized where people will go, Bill Burr, our seminal angry guy, or whatever, like, do you get that?
Yeah. The furious freckled something or other. You know, they always got to have alliteration and just boil it down to this most simple thing. But it actually makes when somebody gets what you're doing. Like I had somebody coming up to me recently said, you know, I've been a fan of your stuff for a while, and I've noticed with each special, they were noticing the little things that I was doing to try and get better. And it's like, thank God somebody noticed, because this is feeling futile, because it seems like anytime everybody, it's, you know, like they'll say, like, he jokes about pedophilia, because I opened my first thing where I talked about, the joke was not about, like, I wasn't joking about pedophilia. I guess technically I would, but just the way they frame it, it was like I was joking about how you can't say hello to a kid anymore.
Right.
Because of that show that was out, To Catch a Predator, was out at the time, and it just, everything just feels creepy now.
Right.
So the joke was, get that kid away from me, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so it was more, that joke was about the fear that overtakes you now because of kids, because of all that To Catch a Predator stuff. But just to say he jokes about pedophilia, don't worry, he makes it funny. And it's just like, just to present it that way. I mean, I know they're not doing it like maliciously or whatever, but I just think in general, probably half the shit I say in my act, whoever I'm talking about, I'm doing that back to them.
Right.
So I can't I was doing a thing on that Duck Dynasty guy, and somebody came up to me going like, dude, you know that guy has like a master's degree in education, right? And I was just like, no, I didn't. You know, he's a millionaire. He's a self-made man. And no, I didn't. I mean, but I was funny. Actually, the bit was, I was saying, like, I was making fun of Glad for not going after the Bible,
right,
where he got the ideas from,
right,
going after that big corporation. They went after this little old man in a boat. So the more I made him out to be this little old man in the middle of nowhere,
right,
the more it ramped up the Bible. I mean, I'm still doing the bit, but I adjusted a little bit.
I know what you're saying.
So I do it too. That's one thing that I've learned. It's just like, all right, someone's going to boil me down to the simplest thing, and I'm going to get mad while I'm doing the same thing to everybody else. So in a way, I'm full of shit.
Right. Well, but excuse me, I think that's a big trick to successful comedy is finding the right route to navigate through the bit. You know, we all, I think ultimately, you and I at least.
Joe, I would think at the end of the day.
Bill,
at the end of the day.
I'd say 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But I think ultimately, guys like us would love to be able to just get on stage and just literally just be like, Lindsay Lohan, fuck you. You know, Liz Taylor, go fuck yourself.
No.
Just throw. My point is just.
I think that's what you want to do. I don't want to do that.
Well,
don't speak for me.
I don't.
Don't speak for me and your nice sunny. You know, be like, let me just rope you into this so I give myself a little more credibility.
Here's the thing. I don't have anything against Lindsay Lohan or Liz Taylor.
I think she's hot.
Yeah. My point is for me, I'd love to get up and just spew out raw opinions about things and just keep it moving. I don't give a shit if it's funny, whatever. I just want to tell you what I think. You can't do that. It's not productive.
No, you can't.
You got to find your route with it, don't you think? I mean,
no, you just go up there and start talking. And it'll be fun. One of the things will just be funny. Look at this guy just fucking going off on shit. It's funny. It doesn't have to necessarily. I can't even tell you the last time I actually thought about joke structure.
But you do, because you just said the thing about, you go, well, I'm kind of full of shit too because I painted in this way, right? I mean,
no, I'm talking about I was factually wrong. I wasn't talking about joke structure.
Right.
I was saying that people look at me and go, oh, the redheaded rage, the red rage, whatever. It's always the alliteration thing. And I get upset that, Jesus Christ, you're turning me into this one-dimensional thing. But I said half the shit in my act, the way I'm observing it, is one-dimensional because I don't know those people either. And that's what I was using. But I wasn't talking about joke structure. What I had to adjust was, I had to adjust me taking the piss out of the guy, like to that level that he wasn't that pathetic when he was out there.
But isn't that sort of, I mean, it's not joke structure, but that's still a structural approach to something where you say.
No, it's a factual approach. It's not more like, I didn't go like, well, you know, me saying he's a scared old man, that needs to come before I do the Bible thing. That's joke structure.
I see what you're saying.
Mine is just the information that I'm,
I see what you're saying. I always,
out there.
I always look at
Jesus, Joe, we're not going to talk about jokes the whole fucking hour.
No. But this pertains to the anger management thing.
Is like Rose on me there.
A little Steven Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I always think of it, and this does relate to anger management. It's like I've alienated myself a lot at parties and stuff like that because I come out too harsh with the opinion. So I always have to go, all right, I have to think of how to say this the right way so I don't look like an asshole right now. And I've had to do that on stage too, where I'm like, if I say it this way, I'm going to lose.
Well, what's funny about you, Joe, is you are like you get along with my wife better than I do. Like you guys just like line up so you should be getting along with women way better than you do because you really are like half a twinkle toes here. You're not a type A guy. You're very like...
I'm the most effeminate type A guy.
Very effeminate, but you're not type A though. You're just angry. Just being angry doesn't make you type A. You're very effeminate, yet you do two things, Joe, that I could really turn you around. One is you always have that look on your face where you're just crinkling up your nail. You're just looking like you have like this, what the fuck is that look on your face?
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably 30% of your day.
Yeah.
And that includes when you're sleeping.
Oh, dude, 30, you're being generous. Man.
Yeah. Like, you know what's funny?
60.
I brought that book back. There was this book that this comic in Iceland wrote where it was just like, almost like The Far Side, where they just had like the one-liner things. And it was fucking hilarious. And as I'm handing it to you, go, Joe, check this out. You already were making that face. And you read half of one. You're like, yeah, whatever. That's cute. And I'm just like, it's like, dude, you read half of this. This fucking book is brilliant, man. It's hilarious.
Oh, my God.
And you went into it like...
Dude, I'll tell you...
I don't understand that.
I'll tell you who I have to become friends with. I got to meet this guy and become friends with it. I've been watching that show, An Idiot Abroad, which is the show where Ricky Gervais sends his friend Carl Pilkington or like around the world. And his friend, I'm watching it, I'm like, that's literally me. Like... the whole thing is
and those are your two mean friends.
Yeah, this exactly.
Sending you out there to humiliate you, and that's why I can't watch that show. There's no like, they just sit there and Alan, what did you do that for? So just look how stupid he is.
No, it's not. It's not that he's stupid.
I'm doing Jay Moore's Ricky Gervais.
It's so funny. It's not that it's not that they make him look stupid. He just doesn't want to go. They were like, we're going to send you to China. And he's like, I don't want to go to China. And it was like, why? And he goes, they just do things different. It doesn't make sense. And Ricky Gervais goes, what do they do different that bothers you so much? He goes, the fucking chicken is orange for no fucking... It's literally shit like that. He gets so wrapped up about it. They're like, all right, we're going to send you to China. And then it's a camera on him in China being disgusted from minute one.
I just watched him one time where they made him like sumo wrestle. He was like getting the shit kicked out of him. He was miserable. He wasn't having... I wouldn't do that to a friend.
He picks a lot of the activities. Like, he picks a lot of things where he's like, this would be funny if I did this or whatever. He's more in on it than you think. Here's the point. Let's not get sidetracked.
Oh, wait. So you mean they don't just send him there against his will?
They send him, but a lot of the activities, he picks things.
No, I'm joking.
Geez, you got me there.
You know something earlier when you were like he's going, yeah, I don't want to go to China and blah, 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 blah. I was going to ruin the show for you and be like, Joe, do you think they haven't worked all of that out? And I'm like, well, Joe's enjoying the show. I won't say anything. And then 5 minutes later, you're like, Bill, it's not, he's more in on it than you think.
Well, yeah.
You can't just send somebody to fucking China if they don't want to go.
I thought you were buying into it because you said the thing about like they make fun of this poor guy or whatever. It's like they're all in on it.
No, but this is the thing though. That guy has no clout in show business. So
now he does.
Ricky's the big man. So whatever he says goes. So now he sends his kid out to go his friend to go run with some water buffalo.
As soon as
a fucking thong. And then they laugh at him.
The first time I saw it, I went into work and I go, Pete, I swear to God, I go, this is an egotistical fear that I have. But I watched this show, and I just pictured you hosting this show and sending me out to places because you just want to see me get angry at stuff. Because he makes fun of me, Pete Holmes. He makes fun of me. Oh,
yeah, but
like in this weird, endearing way.
You're totally in control of that, Joe.
Yeah, I know.
You decide.
Yeah, I know.
You decide whether you're going or not.
It's not going to happen. My point is I just related to Carl Pilkington so much because he's also the guy that you hand the book to, and he's already got his fucking brow scrunched up. Like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
What country did you get it from? I don't give a shit. I mean, I don't know. It's
what is it, Joe? Come on, spit it out.
I know what I'm going to say here. It's back to the thing that I said in the intro.
I'm going to put you in a movie.
Oh, that's an inside joke that I wish we could go into more. Oh boy, it's back to the thing I said in the intro. It's the angry performer thing. Have you ever had the fear? So much of your comedy is born out of annoyance, and I think annoyance is probably a better word. I remember my first manager that I ever had, Evan Steinberg, who was at one time one of your managers. I remember he said to me once, he goes, "Listen to me, keep wearing those glasses and sweaters on stage." And I go, "Why?" And he goes, "Because you go up there and you shit on everything. It offsets you a little bit. If you go up there looking like a slouch, nobody's going to want to hear it." And I was like, "That's really good advice." And he goes, "Another thing, you're not angry, you're annoyed. That's the difference." And I was like, "Yeah, actually."
You guys knew who he was imitating. Yes, that's a pretty good.
The fucking head swivel. But you know, Evan Steinberg, what a hoot that guy was. That's a whole other podcast. Anyway,
You got to have him on.
I'd love to.
He's one of my favorite people I ever met in the business.
Oh my God, I love
ran
him.
into him recently when I was out on the road.
Did you have fun with him?
Fun. It was ridiculous. It's great.
I mean, he's a guy where you could literally he's the kind of guy where you're like, let's just drive out to the desert with this bottle of tequila and see what happens. He'd be like, all right. He wouldn't even just say, all right. He'd have some phrase. Yeah.
No, he would know somebody out in the desert because he lived there for like 2 days or something. And they would all be like, "Evan," when he showed up.
"She's a sword swallower. We're going to go out to her trailer." Yeah, something. Anyway.
I met her when I was in the cavalry.
But speaking as a guy whose comedy is born out of annoyance and frustration and anger, and I think you would agree that a lot of yours comes from there too.
No, I would actually, I'm not being a contrarian. Most of my stuff, if you really listen to it, it's fear. All of my shit about women is fear.
It's
all of that, because you hate women, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I'm a little kid who needs a hug. That's what it is. If you really boil it down, most of the stuff that guys complain about and women complain about, it's like not understanding. It's the fear. It's the whole thing's going to go wrong. You're going to break my heart. I'm going to end up alone. That's what's really underneath it, underneath the whole. And why do they fucking have to put the seat down? Ugh.
Right.
All of that misdirected stuff. Like my anger is more just like the SAG fucking answering machine.
Right.
The way people drive, that type of stuff. But that's to me is just the bullshit in life. But the real shit, the meat in life, is that's all fear based. Well, having kids, getting married. When I talk about banks and conspiracy theory, that's all fucking fear. Fear of and getting a gun. That's all fear.
I'll tell you this: when you do your stuff about women and relationships, I don't find that angry. I don't find that angry at all. Like I actually do understand the fear-based concept thing that you're talking about. I never found that angry. The stuff that
we really need to have a woman here now to be like, well, when I listen to it through my female ears, it sounds like
shut your mouth.
Nah, you got to get away from that joke.
I'm totally joking. But here's the thing: like when you say something like, I was talking about your brunch bit last night. I was at a bar with my friend Pat. And
be honest, you were doing my bit to some hot chick trying to get laid. I don't care. That's fine.
Bill, I had 3 fingers in. I wanted to get a 4th. That bit put it over the top. No, but we were talking about your bit, and is that pesto? Is that pesto? When you go, you just want to flip the fucking table over, like.
That is annoyance.
That's what I'm talking about. Those moments of annoyance or anger or whatever you want to call it.
And I don't consider those anger. This is an arrogant way of looking at it, but I don't consider that angry. I consider that enlightened. Like I feel in those moments. Maybe that's why I get so mad.
Great way of looking at it.
I feel the way I look at it is I am so fucking right in those moments. Like the SAG thing. I'm so fucking right that is my union. And it shouldn't be this so fucking difficult.
I love it.
For me to get in touch with you guys. And what you guys are really doing is just running a scam over there, taking people's money. And anytime the networks come over, you roll over and you take your little fucking payoff. Dude, it's like I can't stand them.
I love it. So, I love it. I think enlightened is such a great way.
And then I flip out. No, my enlightenment. I mean, I don't even know if I'm right, but I'm just saying what I think. I feel that I am so enlightened about what's really going on, man, that turns into anger And then, when I flip out, I want to fucking give a liver punch to my file cabinet. I am an angry man then. And I am scaring my dog, and I'm making my wife's life miserable, without a fucking doubt.
Bill,
but it came from being enlightened.
I'm following you right down this enlightened road right now. Let's go down the
arrogant trail.
Yeah, let's go down that road
right next
together.
to the Appalachian.
I totally agree with that. Now, here's what's funny. I'm sitting here saying to you as your friend, Bill, you're also an angry guy. And then you go, Joe, I'm not angry. I'm this. When anybody says it to me, we can't even recognize it in each other. When anybody says to me, Joe, you're angry, I think the same fucking thing you're thinking. No, I'm not angry. I just see that everybody's an idiot. Why doesn't anybody else see this right now? Yeah, exactly. Why doesn't anybody else see it? It does feel like an enlightenment thing. It feels like this is fucked. And
I look at you, Joe. You get angry, and you lose your temper, but you're not an angry guy. If anything, you're a worrywart.
Yeah.
That's what you are. You get worried,
anxiety,
and you get frustrated, and then I think all of us, I don't know, there's something so solitary about being a comedian that you start to be this little dictator in your life. So like when someone disagrees with you, you're just like, silence! You can go that route, but like I got in this huge debate with Nia. Somebody had sent me this thing on Twitter. Mm-hmm. About some woman in Cosmopolitan, right? She got married at 24. Mm-hmm. It was warning women to get a prenup. She got married at 24. 24, what do you got? You got student loans and a dream. That's all she had. And she got married. So, and she married this guy who has like a master's degree, well-educated guy and everything. Well, and long story short, she blows up. She wrote, I'm not going to name the movies. I don't want to out even though they put in the thing. But she wrote, these 3 really fucking funny movies. And now she's writing Cosmo and all this stuff. Like, she blew up. Blah, 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 blah. They grew apart. And now they're getting a divorce.
Right.
And the lawyer said, well, he's probably going to ask for alimony. And she's like, there's no way he's going to make that big of a pussy move. There's no way he's going to do it. And, of course, the guy does it. And then she's just and she's angry. She goes, every month when I have to write him this check for $6,000 or something and blah, 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 blah. And the whole time I'm reading the article, I'm like, I agree with every fucking thing this person's saying. That guy is a pussy, the whole thing. But what pissed me off was she made it a gender issue where she said, women, watch out for this. And my wife just couldn't see that. And I was like, I think it was astoundingly ignorant to try to take something like that, considering most of the time it affects guys. Guys are the ones getting, they always sit there and they go, hey, a woman gets 77 cents for every dollar a guy makes an hour. It's like, yeah, but you make it up on the back end during the divorce.
Right.
But I don't think that should be right. But this is the deal. No guy is ever going to get on TV complaining about alimony. You're just another guy bitching about alimony. But she could actually make a difference. If a woman got on TV and actually just said the divorce laws out here in California are absolutely insane. They are insane.
Right.
She could actually, you would be hard pressed to think of a show like those types of show that she couldn't get on. And instead, all she does is write an article and she warns women. And,
but now I hear you.
And we got in this big beef where she was just like, well, why do you feel she has to give you your comeuppance? I'm like, there's no comeuppance in this. And I actually said, you know what? This is actually my fault because of all the bad shit I've said about women. That's all you're hearing right now. And I'm not saying it. She's 100% right. That guy is a fucking pussy. It's even worse when a guy does it to a woman. I know that's a double standard, but get a fucking job. I swear to God, dude. I joked. I said if I was married to Oprah, okay, and she's making $1 billion. If she came home and she fucking bought me a car, I tell her to take it back. I'm not as a man. I'm not driving down the street.
I don't agree.
My wife bought this for me. Auga.
I don't agree with that part of it, but I agree with everything else you said. And what's interesting to me is what separates us from the other guy, because we get worked up about it. That's the difference. You and I read that kind of article and go, a point needs to be proven. I need to walk across the room to the person I live with and prove that this is wrong, and we can't let it go. Whereas a million other people would just...
100% agree with me, then I can't let it go. Yeah. Dude, it turned it, we were at the airport and we debated it the entire way from the airport. It's like an hour and a half fucking drive all the way to right to when we went to bed. And then she finally understood what I was saying, and then she agreed with me. And I probably said, it was a combination of me not making my point clearly and all of the shit that I've said through the, all the years of knowing her was already, I mean, she already has a preconceived notion of who I am, as I do her.
Right.
And I know what sets her off and that type of thing. But like, but getting back to that point, dude, you are like not accepting a car from Oprah if you were married to her. There's no fucking way I could do that. I'd have to pull my own weight for the simple fact, because basically as a guy, like your job is to provide. So if you're with a woman and they have the kids, they can have the kid. I mean, you're there for the first, you're there for the opening 5 minutes of the movie, and then they bring the whole thing home. That's what they can do.
Right.
All right. And so your job is you can provide. If they're making more money than you, they're like a self-contained unit. They're providing for themselves and they're having kids. So at that point, you're like a teenager. You're just like this 45-year-old teenager, and she comes home and buys me a fucking car. Like, I'm not saying that I couldn't handle being with a woman who was making more money than me, but it's like, you're not going to go out and buy me a bunch of nice shit. And I'm like fucking like in some evening gown, like laying on my stomach on a fucking piano.
Now
Diamonds, singing Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, Now here's like some kept woman. Fuck that.
Here's the funny thing.
I don't think women should do that either.
I disagree with what you're saying right now.
Because you're a mooch.
And it relates to what we're talking about, because why is there a thing in me where I can't just go, it's Bill's opinion, I don't care, I don't agree with it. I'm sitting here right now going, no, he's wrong.
I don't want you to agree with it. I want to hear your opinion. What do you have?
No. And
you don't have to yell. I'm right across this little table.
It depends on the dynamic of the relationship. Sure, if there's, I believe it should be a team and it should function like a team. So if your wife is going to have kids and she's going to be the person there raising the kids, nurturing the kids and all that stuff, then go out and be the guy bringing home the bread, make her life easier, and it's a team at that point. If you're just two people that aren't having kids and she gets a little more successful than you do and she wants to throw you a car, that's part of the equality of the sexes. It's like it's got to be all or nothing.
It's not a part of the equality. It has nothing to do with that. It just has to do with me as a human being. Like, I don't want to be like if I have a car, I want to be like, I paid for this thing.
Of course,
this is my, like, I bought this thing. I want to be pulling my weight.
We all want to, but I think that's more about like, if I bought you a car, you'd be like, get this car out of here, as your friend. I don't think it's a matter of my wife and I'm not a man. I think it's a matter of, I just don't feel right driving a car.
Dude, just like if you have like a fucking suit and you look great in it and your wife bought you your whole fucking wardrobe. I mean, at that point, I might as well put some heels on and just be some floozy walking down the street. Why do you work so much? How come we can't go to the movies? I mean, the amount of wood that I would have to chop to just try and still feel like a fucking man. And I wish there was a woman
that's your fear. I think that's your fear thing.
Where they would sit there and go like, well, this is a sexist thing where you like don't feel that a woman should make more money than you. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if I was with a woman that was making more money than me, she's already bought the giant fucking house. There's no way you're buying me all this other shit. Like, I'll pay for the NFL Network. I have to bring something to the fucking table. I actually think that that's a good quality I have, where there's a bunch of people out there who don't share my genitalia that would have no problem sitting in the house like a fucking house cat, laying in the goddamn sun as I'm out there slaving away.
But let's
no. But at the end of the day, the thing that she can do is she can actually, I can't even say they make a baby. She can sit there and tough it out.
Oh boy.
As they're not doing it. That's the thing. It's not like you're making a pie.
But
you sit there, you get banged, and then let me explain what happens. And then what happens is my stuff swims up the river there, hopefully gets through before the dam closes. It's like an action movie. That one person who rolls underneath and then everybody else is on the other side. Open it up.
I think this goes back to your fear
That's the first 10 pages. That's the first 10 pages of your script, Joe.
That's script writing 101. I think this goes back to your fear thing. And Bill, fear leads to hate.
I think it goes back to your ass.
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Did you know that?
Hey, Joe.
That's from Star Wars.
I'll tell you this right now, Joe. Kant lives on Won't Street.
No, but you never answered my question.
I'm being evasive.
Given
this feels like 60 minutes.
Given this opinion, whether it's this discussion, the discussion about the article, the discussion about anything that stirs the little man inside of you to go, this is wrong. What is it that separates us from the... why can't we be like the other guy? Manage the anger, manage the frustration, and go, it doesn't matter. That article doesn't affect me. Why do I now feel the need to hammer out this debate for 90 minutes with somebody at the risk of now getting into a...
Well, I can't answer that for you. Why do you... I don't,
no, I'm saying for both of us. We're both that person.
I don't know why I have to... I mean, I grew up in a big family and we just debated shit and you wanted to win and you wanted to be right.
It's that simple.
And fists were thrown and you tried to win that.
You and I got into a fight. I want to talk about
you
some
and
of the
I.
arguments we've had. Here's some legendary in the sense of our friendship arguments that we've been
Joe,
into.
you're going to throw dirty laundry out in the yard.
Oh, no, these are so funny. We got into an argument once about politics. We somehow started out with the same opinion, and then it escalated to the point, we were in your apartment that eventually became the apartment that I lived in. This argument got so fierce that you started doing chores. You started doing chores during the argument. At one point, you were washing dishes.
Oh, that's right.
Yelling at me over your shoulder. Oh, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I remember that.
It looked like an old married couple. That was one. It was so funny to see. I wish I could have just seen it from the outside. That was one. There was the classic argument we had where I told you that I thought white people ruined blues music, and you really like Stevie Ray Vaughan, and we argued for 4 hours.
I was so right about that.
You were. You know what? I completely concede now. I just was in this zone of I just wanted.
My argument was basically you can't ruin it.
Yeah,
you can just play it bad, but you don't ruin what.
And I grew to like
did.
Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I was like, I was wrong for that. But that argument lasted 3 hours and spanned 4 bars. That was the argument where it got so harsh, people were looking at us in the bar like, what the fuck is with
I remember
these
Rachel.
two?
Rachel was like, can you guys cut it out? And I looked at her, I was like, Rachel, do you ever think maybe we enjoy doing this? Because I was loving it.
And we did.
That's how Uninformed started. We were yelling at each other.
Yeah.
And then somebody in the bar said, dude, this is a radio show right here.
And it was. In fact, I think it was your wife.
Dude,
do
you remember just all those fucking times drinking on, was it 9th Avenue?
Mm-hmm.
Just we used to just end up with these weird crews because we actually came up in a time where a lot of comics didn't drink. There was a time, there was all those guys from the 80s,
right,
the Kinnison era, where they all just burned out and got their wages garnished and all that. So when I started comedy, for the first 10 years, I swear to God, every headliner I opened with, there was so many. So I've been sober for 2 years, been sober for 8 months. They all got sober. And then, I started with a bunch of guys like, Dane, Bobby, Patrice. None of them drank, didn't do drugs. So I'm very like, codependent. Like, I'm not going to just be the only guy drinking. So I just kind of quit. And then it started to like ramp back up. In the 2000s, people's comics, I felt, they started partying again, but it was just sort of sporadic people. So we would have this weird mix. It was almost like back when Bill Maher would do Politically Incorrect.
Right.
And there would be an economist sitting across from Slash.
Right.
And it was just this really cool mix of people.
Yeah.
So we went out there, and I remember there was that one night, I'm going to name names. Remember that guy who just had that flip out on me at the end of the night? He's just like, you never say goodnight to me. You never say that I'm funny on stage. Like, had a meltdown.
No.
Yeah, oh, dude, it was brutal.
No, I don't remember that. Honestly, I really don't.
I'll tell you who that was. A long...
But did you engage and argue back? Because I can't not engage.
No, I did what
that.
my mother did. Like, oh, this person wants attention. I'll be even more cold to him. and I didn't even consciously do that. I just went into that because that's what I learned.
I wish I could do that. I can't. I come from a family where it's like, and I think this is part of my anger issues. I come from a family where it's like, if it's in your head, it just falls out of your mouth. There is no strategy to any of it. There is no call.
Oh, no, I have that too. But it's more like if someone's just like, like, and that was a major thing for me, all through the years, all the relationships I fucked up was when the woman I was with would come to me and be like, I need this and I need this. It would make me, it was a turnoff, and it made me push them away. It was really me. I just wasn't developed as a human being. Oh my God, Joe! Do I
not
owe
say it?
Apologies,
dude. I can't not say the thing. It's I remember my buddy. I went to my buddy's place for his.
Joe, you're saying all the things people are thinking.
Yeah, I know. You know,
You're crazy.
Hey, look, don't get mad at me because I'm not afraid to say it.
What? I said it.
I can't not let it out though. I went to my buddy's place for his daughter's third or fifth birthday. Pushy kid. She had a birthday party, and he said, "Come over on Sunday. It's my daughter's birthday." So I go over. Bunch of kids, bunch of parents, hanging out. It's a mess, you know. It's a goddamn children's birthday party. So I'm like, I'm gonna really score some points with the guy's wife right now. I clean up the whole kitchen. I'm doing the dishes. I'm just knocking it out of the park.
Doing it for all the wrong reasons.
All the wrong reasons.
Not because you're a good guy, because you want to score some points.
Yeah. She never says thank you, right? And dude, it's so the party ends. I do all this. I don't get a thank you.
How many kids does she have?
She's got 2, and there was like 10 kids at the party, though.
Right, she's tired, dude. She's frazzled.
It's in my head, though, now. It's in my head, and it's spinning.
Joe, you wanted to be acknowledged.
I did. That's it. Look,
you wanted your comeuppance.
Yeah, dude,
you wanted
but again,
some recognition. You wanted the whole party to stop. Hey, fuck these kids.
Yeah.
Everybody, look at Joe.
Yeah, I'm a scared little boy.
Wow, isn't Joe?
I'm a scared little boy. Give me my pat on the head.
You were just like the kids going, Mommy, look what I can do. Look what I can do.
Exactly.
You went out and you cleaned up the kitchen.
Aren't we all just the kids, though, Bill?
Joe, we're just the kids in the hall.
So, dude, we leave. The party's over, whatever. We leave. I take my buddy. I get tickets.
Were your glasses fogging up? I would have loved to have seen the look on your face. When you realized you weren't going to get your pat on the head and your all-day sucker, I would have loved to have seen the look of disappointment.
Me and my buddy go out for the night, right? They have drinks now. And we're dude, I'm like, I'm not going to say anything that's not right. That's wrong. That's not why you do
this
favors.
This is your thoughts, and then a little more alcohol. The alcohol in your liver's going, no, maybe it's right. Maybe it's right, Joe.
Not even a little more alcohol. We're out of his house 2 minutes. We're not even to my car yet. And I go,
Joe.
I just got to say this. It's just going to eat me alive. What's for your wife? She didn't like me? What was the problem? She didn't know, thank you, nothing. And we didn't fight, but that's anger. That's the fear goes into the anger, frustration, leads to...
She didn't think you were good enough, Joe.
And then
she treated you like the help.
Yeah.
That's what it was, Joe.
Yeah.
12 years of DeRosa.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Jeez. But it's
I didn't see that movie because it's said 12 years. It just seemed too long. I'm like, oh my God, 12 years of white guilt.
Jesus.
How about
sorry, Bill, that the struggle was a little too long for your taste.
No, I've seen it, Joe. I saw Roots. I've been watching those. I got it. Amistad, Freedom.
Oh,
there's
boy.
nothing I can do. That's why I love...
There's nothing I can do.
Yeah. How about 6 years of Trailer? That's why I like that movie Django. They finally switched it up. And it's like, yeah, I know this didn't happen, but give them some pistols and let them go shoot some white people. I can watch this. This is great. Kill Whitey. I can watch that slave movie. But if you're going to show what actually fucking happened again, I mean, there's no upside. It's the human version of watching like the Animal Planet when they bring up like a fucking, they'll show this wonderful animal and it frolicking along and having a great fucking time, and then the human beings come in and kill all its habitat and it's just dying off, and you just leave depressed.
Yeah, it's tough to watch. Yeah, it's like watching like Schindler's
Joe,
List.
I like a Hollywood ending.
Bill, I know. I
don't even remember how Schindler's List ended. It was just like, it couldn't have been more bleak.
It didn't end well,
black
Bill.
and white. Oh my God, the whole fucking, it was just horrible.
Yeah, it's sad stuff.
And I already knew. I knew it happened. I wished it didn't happen. And then I go in, let's watch what happened again.
That's why I don't like watching Jesus movies. It's a fascinating story.
And then you got to see.
I know you're just going to beat the shit out of this guy at the end.
And you're hoping it's going to be like Hulk Hogan, where he's going to get down to one leg and then finally put that finger in the air and he's going to come back. Wait a minute.
It's like every time I watch a Jesus movie, it's like watching Casino. I'm like, I don't want to see the part where they bury him and they hit him with the bat.
That's why I don't watch Casino.
I want to see it.
I like Goodfellas right up until that day where he just becomes like a rat. And I hate how Henry Hill is sitting there feeling sorry for himself. And now it's all gone. Yeah, because you fucking did what that guy told you not to do.
Yeah.
And you ratted out all your friends.
Yeah.
So you could stay. You should be eating fucking noodles and ketchup, and they should shove it up your ass in the bottle.
Dude, before we get too far away from it, Uninformed, Jesus Christ, do you want to talk about arguments? Ernie, who's our sound guy over there. I mean, the arguments we had on this thing. I remember one day Bill got so mad at me, he had headphones you had headphones in your hand. You were squeezing them together and shaking. You were so mad at me.
I broke the headphones.
And they broke, and a piece of plastic went ding and just arced off of the headphones. These are the levels. It was
this. I'll tell you why,
oh
Joe.
My God,
I'll tell you why I used to get that mad at you.
I don't blame you.
I'll tell you what. This is because I grew up in like a fucking house where you fought. You didn't just keep debating and blah, blah, blah. And you have this thing where you yell and you say shit like you know how to fight and like we're going to fight, but it never happens.
Oh, yeah, no.
Like when we be in bars.
What are we, animals?
You would fucking... You had this weird thing. Who the fuck was I talking to this about recently? I can't remember. We were fucking laughing about you. How you're like, what, 6'2", 6'3"?
It had to be Pete, right?
So you are like no, it wasn't Pete. You are a bigger guy, but you're also like, you barely have enough muscle to move your body.
Yeah.
So there's this weird duality, but when someone first looks at you, it's like, oh, that's a guy 6'2", 6'3", and then you start yelling at them. You used to yell at these people in the bar, and they would stand up, and then you would just do this little move. You'd start backing up as you were still yelling at him, and just naturally everybody would fill in between the two of you as you continued to talk shit. Yeah. And I remember how many fucking times did I stand between you and somebody else who could... And I'd be thinking in my head, like, this guy's going to kill me. I haven't had a fight since fucking junior high. Jesus, Joe, shut up or pick somebody small. That homeless guy...
Yeah, that was to protect you. The homeless guy said something nasty to you, and I ran out to protect you.
No, it wasn't. Look at you painting yourself to be the hero.
He said something shitty to you, and I was trying to get your back. And now, granted...
You didn't, Joe. You yelled more shit to make it worse as you was still further down the street.
Yeah.
That's how you have my back, by being out in front.
I yelled at a guy...
I got your back, Bill. I'm around the corner.
I yelled at a guy once who was like clearly on angel dust or something. His eyes were just glass. And he came charging at me, and I backed literally into Jay Okerson's arms. Like Jay put his arms around me and protected me, and the guy just left me alone. But I didn't know what to do.
Mama Bear had you.
Oh my God, dude! It was so instinctual. There was no part of me that was like, I'm going into Jay's arms, and there was no part of him that was like, I'm going to wrap my arms around him. It was just one weak thing going into the arms of a stronger thing.
Everybody's always said that about Big J. His first instinct is to protect.
Yeah, he's a motherly guy. He can wear all the fingerless gloves he wants. He's a motherly kind of guy. He's not a toughie.
Yeah.
He's a motherly, sweet man, and I love that about him. But we used to argue. Yeah, that was the harsh thing about our dynamic back then was you came from Boston, cut the shit, we're gonna fight. I came from suburban Pennsylvania. It was a lot of arguing.
Listen, I don't think you have to bring down your entire state. Because of your behavior.
My
Joe,
house...
fuck the past. What are you doing now?
To fix the anger?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Stop
what
making that face.
That's what I'm getting. I can't. That's what I'm getting at is we used to argue like animals back then, and we don't argue like that anymore. I can't remember the last time we had even a debate about something. Like, we kind of just get along all the time now because I think we've... successfully manage the anger in a certain way.
Yeah, we stopped doing a radio show together.
Right.
We're not writing anything together. So we just sort of run into each other.
I mean, was there anything worse than trying to write a book and a TV script at the same time? That's the last time we had a fight. We had such a bad fight one time during that, we almost broke up as friends. I remember having a conversation where we were like, I can't do this anymore, dude.
No, what it was, you just had, there was no... it was just fire and fire or whatever. It wasn't like you can be on a crew and I can be on a crew, but you can't have like three of the same fucking temperament like we had on that shit. Bobby Kelly was in there too. That was a horrific That was the perfect storm of fucking angry idiots.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just inevitable. And then all strong personalities, all thinking that they knew the direction. And then, that was just Jesus Christ. You know what's funny is that all that arguing sits on a computer somewhere underneath a mountain. You know how they record everything now and they just put it in the file. Like they must have us under like the least amount of security. Like these fucking guys can't even get a goddamn script together. There's no way.
Dude.
If the plot comes, if anything, that you got 3 Oswalds here, these guys are going to be the fall guys.
Can I tell you this, dude? I've written I don't know 3 or 4 scripts since that time. Just
Joe, you're prolific. We all know this.
Just on my own.
Joey
just
King.
writing scripts, learning each time, whatever. I'm working on something right now with a guy who's staffed on several different TV shows. And I said to him, look, I got this idea. I've written some stuff professionally. I'm staff writing now, but I need to write this with a guy that really has a lot of like scripted experience. And we're working on the idea. Dude, within the first 5 minutes of the first meeting, I was like, it was astounding how much we didn't know what the fuck we were doing when we wrote that script. Like in 5 minutes, he was just like, okay, so listen, you got to do this. And I was like, oh yeah. Like we were flying so blind, dude. Like so fucking
But it was still
blind.
a great script, though.
I thought it was still a good script. I thought it was still really good.
Despite the fact that it didn't get picked up and nobody said we should commit money to this, I still think it was a great one.
Despite the fact.
Can I tell you, I've actually given up on writing scripts and all that. Like, it was the greatest thing I ever did.
You shouldn't give up on it.
Why, Joe? It's just so fucking hard. What I've always done in life is just grab, is this easy? Do I feel like I have a knack for this? And then I do that. Like, that shit is like, it reminds me of when I went to school and I had to take science class or I had to take, algebra 2 and trigonometry. And I'm just sitting there going like, not only do I not get this, I don't even give a fuck.
Right.
I don't even know what it's for.
Right.
I sat through like 3 years of fucking math. It was like, I almost felt like I moved to a new country. And they never, when I took geometry, my geometry teacher, God bless her, she gave me the D-. She gave me the D- so I didn't have to go to summer school. God bless her. I always love her for that. But there was never any sort of, hey, this is this math and this is what you apply it to. They just had like these theory. It was almost like prayers. I felt like I was in church. Opposite angles are congruent, and everyone would just chime in.
Right.
And I didn't I think I was 10 years out of high school before somebody's finding, geometry. This is like what engineers use to make sure a structure doesn't fall down, how to make a suspension bridge and all that. It's like, is that what that's for? I wish that they actually, if they could just somehow have the theory on the triangle or whatever, and then fucking show me a film strip about a bridge and then show it, then it actually would be interesting rather than just being like these words.
Here's what's so interesting about that to me.
Parallelogram.
Again,
I've never seen a parallelogram in my adult life.
Again, I think this is a parallel where I really relate to
parallelogram.
You. This is another thing where I really relate to you. We talked about how we're guys that consistently engage. The point has to be proven. Justice has to be served. We have to have the debate or the argument. Then, at the same time, there are things that we wholly don't give a fuck about. I'm the same way. There are things where I'm just like, I don't give a shit at all. I don't fucking care. Will it make you happier if I throw the plastic into the blue thing? Just shut the fuck up. I don't care. Don't explain it. I don't give a shit.
How can you not even
all.
Make an attempt to recycle? I just don't understand.
I make an attempt to shut people up. That's it. Like because I don't give a fuck. But no part of me is going, this is for the earth.
Why don't you care?
Because I think it's pointless. This is how much I don't care. I can't even pose an argument for why I don't care. I just don't give a fuck.
No, if you were actually to say that I don't recycle because I think it's bullshit, they don't recycle it anyways, that I don't have a problem with that.
Sure.
I don't have a problem
That's
with
what
that.
I'm going to say from now on.
But if you actually think that 7 billion human beings are not having an effect on the planet, I would debate that.
I was talking about something the other night, and I go, you know what I think about that? And I go, here's why I think that. I saw Penn and Teller say it was bullshit once on their TV show.
Saying what?
I don't even remember what it was. It was just a thing where I was like, yeah, that's why I think that's
You know what I love about that shit? I love that like aspects of science and that thing, like, you got to hear it from a scientist to say it's bullshit. You don't need two magicians telling you that global warming is a scam.
Well, they'd back it up with scientists that would support the theories. It wasn't like they would just say it and then go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they would.
I thought you just like Penn and Teller in between, pulling a rabbit out of the hat. Now, by the way, this global warming.
I think it was the global warming thing, actually, because they did an episode about how in the 70s they did all these articles about global cooling that read literally exactly the same as global warming articles read. And I was like, yeah, I don't believe in global warming. And somebody's like, why? And I was like, I don't know. I just saw Penn and Teller say it was bullshit. But that's the thing. There is not an inkling of something in me that's worried about global warming at all. And I don't think my carbon footprint is very big, but I just don't fucking care. The conversation comes up, I'm out. I'm tuned out. There could be a tidal wave coming down the street because the ice caps melted, and that's when I'd be like, ah, shit, okay, we got a raft or something. I just don't fucking care. Yet you tell me that a movie I love sucked, or that Tiger Woods' wife, as you often cite, deserved to take that much money. Dude, I will scream at you until
Joe,
I'm hoarse.
You're a passionate guy.
But I'm saying that's an interesting thing about the two of us, and I think that's a good
Joe,
place
would you
to close.
quit lumping me in?
Bill, you're lumped in. I hate to break it to you.
You
We're the
do
same
that.
guy.
Yeah, don't say we. We're not the same guy.
We're very similar.
We have similarities.
Let me ask you this in
We're not
closing.
similar. Joe, you're
I'm a fat-titted girl.
Yeah,
say it.
no.
Say what's on your
I'm not
mind, you
gonna
cocksucker.
Jesus,
I'm kidding.
This all about your parents.
I'm totally kidding. Let me ask you this in closings. We got to wrap it up.
Joe, just ask me. It's your show. Are these apples real, or is this just part of the prop? I feel like I'm on one of those douchey cooking shows.
They're real, but they're old.
I know they're real, Joe. I know they're real.
I know. Do you know, Bill?
Yeah. I didn't think it was a joke.
Or is that what
are you, Penn and Teller now? You got to prove that it's fucking real?
It's just the scared little boy talking right now.
I'm actually going to make an apple pie today.
Ah, jeez.
Yeah,
why don't you take some of this fruit, you fruit? Oh, shit. Let me ask you this in closing, because despite us being so dissimilar, according to you.
Yeah, Joe, you're into comic books.
Forget it. But here's the thing. This is how we're similar.
Yelling.
This is how we're similar. And I said this to you once, and I don't know that
going single white female on me here.
I don't know if it resonated with you or not. You came off stage one night. I was opening for you somewhere. You came off stage one night.
What, did you clean up the stage area and I didn't acknowledge it?
Oh, boy, no. You had been making fun of me about how I
mopped it up with your act.
You had been making fun of me how I reference movies so much and comic books. You're like, all you do is it's just like your go-to reference. You came off stage one night and I go, dude, we're the same guy. It's just you're sports. Your references are all sports. I feel like I'm coming out of the fucking tunnel and the fucking music's playing. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I feel like I'm in the fucking Justice League. You know?
Yeah.
So I do think we're similar. So in closing,
I think we have similarities, Joe.
Similarities.
Joe, why don't we yell at each other? We would 5 years ago we'd scream at each other about this.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. Given our history with the way we used to clash and everything.
Fuck our history, Joe, and fuck you and this whole podcast. Just wrap it up already.
Given our history.
Apples to buy. Given our history.
Given our history, is there any part of you that when we do hang out and whatever, because I do feel this, where I had to be very cognizant for a long time about like, I gotta watch myself a little bit. I know Bill and I can go down that road where we really get at each other. So I got to watch. I don't want us to get there. So I'm gonna check my bullshit a little more. Like, do you do that? And I do that with a lot of people. I got to be careful. Like I can't. I know it's capable of going into this place.
You just volatile.
No, but you know what I mean. Like,
I know what you mean, Joe.
Is that something that you practice in your own life?
What do I? There's certain people that I just fucking always would argue with. So I just kind of stopped. Yeah, I guess I would just be like, all right, well, I know this is just going to be yelling, so I would knock that off. But like I don't find if I actually had to do that, then it would be an effort to be friends with you. Like I kind of got, I got rid of like all those relationships where it's an effort. Like I have to like, okay, what mindset do I have to get into so I can exist around this person? And what I would do was just, all right, I take my 50% of it, and I'm just like, all right, whatever the fuck my half that I'm bringing to the table to this person's half this is just too much fucking work. So I just gradually stopped hanging out with people like that. So you, Joe, I think you're a doll.
That's why you're baking me a pie.
Joe. Rub it right on your little chest hairs.
Well, I agree with what you're saying. There are people where I've said I've got to cut this relationship off because we're just two chemicals and you put us together and it's explosive. However, there are other people where I said, you know what, friendships can take effort. And I know you maybe not agree with this, but like a friendship worthwhile takes a certain kind of effort.
You just have something with like cinnamon sticks in it right now.
It takes the right kind of effort. So, you try to curb your bullshit. And I've had to curb my bullshit. And that's where we're going to end it, everybody. Anger, it's a thing. We all deal with it. And if you act like you're a person
Joe,
that
let me tell you
doesn't...
something.
Bill, shut up. I'm
we have
wrapping
not
up.
Accomplished one fucking thing in this whole thing.
Well, you wanted to go off about all that fucking script writer for 15 minutes.
You're going to blame
Writing
me.
a check for $6,000
Joe,
to her hubby.
Let me tell you something
Who
right
was it, by the way?
First of all,
Bill,
Joe,
we're wrapping up.
This is your show.
I know,
Okay?
and we're wrapping up.
You're the quarterback.
We're wrapping up.
I'm the offensive line, and you're blaming me for the play calling.
Plug something.
All right?
Plug something.
This show represents the last time I'll ever see Joe DeRosa alive.
Just plug something. I hate when podcasts meander at the end. Plug it. Let's fucking end it.
All right.
Go.
Let me see. What do I got?
A Walk of Shame coming out, right?
I don't want to plug that.
I see what you're doing.
I know. Yeah, it took you long enough to figure it out.
Just
I'm
plug something.
meandering. I'm meandering.
All right, folks. Well, the podcast about anger
why
comes
don't
to a close as I am slowly getting angry.
Why don't I just,
I'm actually getting angry.
Why don't I just plug our friendship, Joe?
Yeah, why don't you plug it up your ass? The girl at cunt, and you called her only a bitch. He's like, I knew cunt was coming, man. You exposed yourself. So I say that word too much because I'm an angry guy. That's the point. And here's what why I brought up Uninformed was people tell me that we're fans of the show. They always said that their favorite episode was the episode where we actually brought on, we had fought so much on the air that we actually brought on a marriage counselor.
Did we do that?
Yeah. To talk about, you don't remember this?
No.
Yeah.
I remember the
big
Satanist.
shot over here.
I remember the Satanist.
Right.
I remember we brought on the cop.
The cop.
Blue Lou Boyle we brought on.
I don't think we're supposed to bleep that name because I think he was supposed to be anonymous on the show.
He didn't say anything. It's all right. Who was the other one?
We brought in
Blue Lou Boyle is not his name. That's out of a Tarantino movie. I remember the nutritionist lady who wouldn't relax because she heard us screaming at each other, so she thought that we were going to attack her. We could not get her to relax and be like, "No, the joke's on us. We're the idiots. Just make us look like idiots." She was just like, "Yeah, okay, whatever. Bananas have potassium.
Yeah.
F both you guys. Like,
and
that'll
then
survive."
That one was funny too because you were on the side of nutrition. You were on the side of organic fruits, and I was the one that was like, I don't give a shit. I'll eat anything. And then you ate her organic apples, and you're like, I don't like it. It tastes funny.
Oh, did I say that?
Yeah, so the guy that was supposed to be her support team.
Well, what's funny is like the size that apples are supposed to really be, Joe. These are all roided up apples, these giant fucking things you got here. Well, they aren't even that big.
I actually have to go in the supermarket and try to find apples that small because the other ones are so
you
big.
get like, that's what we talked about on the show, how you get full eating an apple now.
Yeah.
Like, God, you want to split half this apple?
It
used to be like that. Yeah, it went from a baseball to like a softball.
Well, we did the episode.
What's the deal?
Have you seen these apples, people? We did that episode, an episode where we brought a marriage counselor in to talk to us. Today's podcast is brought to you by a long lifetime of not receiving enough attention. Is it ever enough?
Now with Joe DeRosa.
Hi, I'm Joe DeRosa, and here we go with the podcast where I talk to one guest for one thing for 1 hour. And today we're talking about anger management. It's something I've certainly struggled with and failed at achieving for a good chunk of my life. But it's made me a living. Anger, annoyance, outbursts, and tirades have played no small part in my approach to comedy, and people usually think it's funny until it gets real. Here's what I mean. An audience loves anger as a show. We center movies around it. Anger management, that's a movie. We make TV shows about it. Anger management, that's a TV show. And angry comics are consistently a hit. Just see Lewis Black, Sam Kinison, or one of the other countless ranting funny men that have graced the craft. But once anger is off the screen or the stage, people usually don't want it near them. The average calm person shuns, judges, and pokes a stick at someone else's anger like it's some kind of mutant circus freak that entertains and disgusts them all at the same time. So it can suck to be an angry guy until you become an angry performer, which leads to one question I'd like to analyze today. If a guy stops being angry, will he also stop being funny? I don't know. Maybe my guest does. With me today is one of my best pals and a guy who I used to get paid to bicker with on the Uninformed Radio show. He's one of the biggest comedians working today, packing theaters around the world and cranking out hour-long specials, the latest of which is called You People Are All the Same. His Monday morning podcast is one of the best out there, and he's recently stepped into a larger podcast arena as one of the founders of the All Things Comedy Network. He's recently been seen in what I'd call a shit ton of movies. Look for him in Walk of Shame later this year, and he's appeared with regularity on a variety of fantastic TV programs, including the renowned Breaking Bad. But he's here now, and I'm excited. Bill Burr, everybody.
Ah, Jesus, there, Joe. Wanted to sound like I was coming into the room. Jeez, Joe, I wish that intro. I wish my career was half as good as that intro. That was phenomenal.
Thank you.
A shit ton of movies.
You're in so many movies, man.
Yeah, I know. It's like 5 lines. It's great. I'm there for like 6 days. It's perfect, Joe. I'm getting away with murder.
You're the parts are big enough that
scroll down on the IMDb page.
You scroll down to see it.
Scrolling,
but you make the trailer every time you appear in the trailer. You're in the trailer for Stand Up Guys. You're in the trailer for Walk of Shame.
That's because I'm part of an unrecognized minority. So the same way they got to get the Asian and the African American in there. Occasionally, you throw in a ginger.
Yeah, you're the new Ken Jeong. Here's what I want to start with. Bill, we've had our share of arguments over the years.
Joe, we've had disagreements. Some public.
Some
even more public.
Some public. Well, people tell me, for the people that don't know, Bill and I used to do a radio show together called Uninformed, which became a podcast. And
we never stopped doing it. We were on a hiatus.
Yeah.
And it's starting again. What happened was I moved out to L.A.
Yeah.
And you just could not get your shit together.
I couldn't get it together.
Couldn't get it together to just get one of the zillion writing jobs out here. And finally, you put together a packet. As the window was beginning to close, you finally decided to get off your ass and do a little bit of work.
I snuck in.
Joe, you're one of the hardest working guys I know.
Hey, thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Always working on. I'm working on this idea. The fucking cocksuckers aren't letting me do it. They said. Look, I pitched it, they liked it, and now they're just they're such cunts. They're all cunts. That's what it's like to sit next to Joe. That's like, you're just beginning to order round 2.
Here's the funny thing is I apparently say the word cunt so much that I was telling a joke last night at dinner with Pete Holmes, and the punchline of the joke has cunt in it, and he goes, I knew what the punchline was going to be when you got to the part in the joke where you were allowed to riff and call the info. I'm trying to give you money.
That's what I went through.
Me. Yeah.
No, you have to go on and you have to Skype with somebody on, like, they'll text you back and forth. They're actually pretty good. And I was just like, yeah, I have my membership number and I know the last 4 of my social, and it still won't let me in. And as they're trying to help me out, I looked down at the card and I realized for some reason I was carrying around my wife's card. And then I had to type, I just realized. I'm like, I'm an idiot. But fortunately, I wasn't being hostile with her. So then she gave me my membership number.
Right.
And and a link. So rather than writing down the membership number, I always zig when I should zag on computers. I clicked the link, and then it went directly to the link. And then I went, oh, wait, I need the membership number. And I went back, and that was like, that window no longer exists. And that's when I just lost my shit. Because it's like, I don't like paying shit online. I like when my bank account information is not online. I don't do anything online. That's like the second you start doing financial deals online, you're out of your mind. That's basically like just cut up your body a little bit, bleed a little bit, and then jump in shark-infested waters. It's inevitable that, I don't know. I can't say it's inevitable, but something bad can only come from that.
Well, here's the funny thing. Like, we're similar in the temperament department, and I have such issues with dealing with customer service, and because I freak out. You had the bit about in your act about like the whole time you're on the line with customer service, you're going, don't curse, don't curse, don't curse. And then you get worked up. You go, well, you motherfucker. And then they hang up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm terminating the call. Fuck.
Yeah, and then you have to go back.
Yeah. I'm totally that guy, like 100%. And I hate dealing with customer service so much. I put everything online. I'm just like, I don't give a shit. I steal my identity. I don't give a shit. I don't want to deal with the people.
Don't ever anywhere use your debit card because that's your money.
Right.
Because then they hack into your account. Always use like a credit card is not as big a deal, but but as far as like them getting that and then pretending to be you, I've been
about our. I mean, dude, we used to argue so much.
Yeah, but we're not the same. I'm not like that anymore.
Me neither.
Although yesterday, I done some acting work and I was behind on my SAG dues, which is the horrific union that you call and you can't even get them on the phone. So for some reason,
isn't it incredible?
Well, they don't even send you a bill, and then all of a sudden you do 2 lines in a show, which I am the king of, and then they're like, yeah, the show's going to get fined if you don't pay your dues. So I called them up trying to give them money. It was a couple $100. I'm just trying to pay them. I can't get through to anybody. Dude, it's the most hostile, passive-aggressive, phone system you go into, which is like, hey, if you want this, press 1. If you want this, press 2. And then you get into it, and they just go, if you know the name of the person you want to talk to, type in you don't have any name, or type in the extension. Right. And then you're like, well, I don't know either one of those, but none of the choices you gave me work. So then you press 0, and it just goes back to the beginning again. So I tried to pay online, and I asked my wife, I said, come in and let's just help me out. I swear to God, I'm not going to lose my temper, dude. And within 2 minutes of trying to do it, I bought a file cabinet and I just wanted to start throwing liver shots into the side of the thing. It just never works for me.
Dude, yeah, it's that classic thing we always talked about with we always laugh about that Honeymooners episode, pins and needles, needles and pins.
Yeah.
A happy man always grins. That episode is hit. It's the perfect setup to a joke because this character flies off the handle, and then the setup is I'm not going to freak out anymore. I'm just going to say this thing, and it's going to calm me down. And then the whole episode, you're just watching him say it through clenched teeth. I'm that same guy, dude. It's like I can't, and I'm going through that right now with the SAG thing. I owe them, I don't know, they have $400 or something on dues. I've called them.
Why don't they send you a bill? They want you to pay online.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
And I keep calling them and saying, guys, I can't find my login.